Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another special episode of Herschel Talkers. We got Big Sean and special returning guest, Angry Scott returns from his sabbatical. How are we doing today, guys?
I'm good. Scott, how are you?
Oh, I'm definitely angry, mostly at Trey. But
Is that because he messed up the intro again?
I should just be used to this is who Trey is and accept him for who he is. But my
Would
expectations are way too high.
Would you care to properly bring us in, Scott?
Yeah, give it to us, Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
There it is.
this is the Herschel Talkers presenting the College Football Hour with Angry Scott, Trey Baby Driver, and Sean Hans Gruber? Question mark? No, Big Sean.
Here we go. And
That's awesome.
and to our 40 plus listeners, just so you guys know, like we've been known by the Herschel Talkers, so we've kind of mostly discussed Georgia football. We're trying to expand a little bit, so we're bringing in Angry Scott, the Buckeye, to make it more nationwide. Hence the College Football Hour.
I like it.
So, all right, first topic, Trey. What do we got?
First, I wanted to jump in. Please check out Talking Dogs. Our friend has the coffee shop, Commit to the G, all things Georgia football. Please check them out. They have a membership we post on there, so we really appreciate them and all their contents. Please check out Talking Dogs over there. Here's your website. Also have a membership there, so they're growing. I think they have like 100 members a week. So yeah, check out talkingdogs.com. Jumping right into it, Georgia with a big win, 30-13 over Kentucky. It was a top 15, top 11 matchup. It's game day, 3:30, great atmosphere. Georgia gets the win 30-13. I thought it was a cheap kind of junk touchdown in the end, but I guess you can't blame Mark Stoops for putting that in. Georgia didn't cover, but it was the fourth win over a top 20 or top 25 team, which is impressive. Stetson Bennett struggled in the first half, but looked really good. 3 touchdowns, I think, for 250. Didn't turn the ball over. He did really well. Brock Bowers beasted out 3 touchdown catches. So overall, impressive win against very improved, very good Kentucky team. What was your thoughts on the game, Sean?
I think you summarized them pretty well. The other thing too was I felt like this was probably Georgia's least impressive win of the season, just from the standpoint that I felt like Kentucky fought really hard on the line of scrimmage and actually maybe gave us, no pun intended, a little bit more than what we were ready to chew, so to speak. And so I think it was kind of humble pie, especially that last touchdown at the end where we gave up numerous third down, I think at least one fourth down conversion. I think it was some humble pie for just the team to focus and realize, look, I mean, having that mentality of staying out of the end zone is great, but can't necessarily overlook anybody. And so, they may have been a little bit guilty of that. And so it's just, it's kind of good just to be able to, ground your team a little bit like that based on, real game experience. Scott, I don't know if you had an opportunity to see any of the game.
Yeah, Sean. So the other thing I'll say with that is if your humble pie is then winning 30-13, ask Alabama what the humble pie was like losing to Texas A&M.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
so I hear what you're saying, that you air quotes weren't as dominant as what you've been, but it's just a garbage touchdown that doesn't fucking mean anything. Well, it means some more to some people than others, for you degenerate gamblers out there.
Exactly.
However, outside of that, it was a very, it was just dominant performance. That's what I saw. I said, hey, I'm going to tune in for a good game because, yes, I did DVR the game. And I said I'm going to go and I'm going to watch most of it. And I did watch most of it. And then, I want to catch out some other games. And I started fast forwarding because it's like Kentucky's not going to win this game. What was it, 14-7 at halftime? Yeah. But really then I think it was 24-7 by the end of the third. I'm like, no, with Georgia's defense this year, you have the best defense in college football. There's my expert analysis, okay?
Appreciate it.
That they have the best defense in college football. Now, you have an offense that does enough, but, it's your boy Stetson Bennett, who I've heard, to correct me if I'm wrong, that he does work at Kohl's on the weekends, or is that just the summertime?
Well, you know, his nickname's the mailman because I think, quote me if I'm wrong, wasn't he like working in the mail department at the university or something like that?
Nah, he just wore those hats around the training camps when he was getting recruited, and he tried to stand out. And then he wore some mailman hats, I think was the story, and they call him the mailman.
Okay. If I wanted to stand out, the last thing I'm going to do is like, hey, look, I'm a postal worker. So if y'all don't take me, I'm going to shoot everybody up. Maybe not the way that I would stand out. Here's the thing. He's listed at 5'11", but it's just me. Look, I'm 5'9", okay? And that's the average height of a male here. But on the fucking football field, I mean, does he not look like he's about 5'8"?
He does.
I mean, really, he does. He looks so damn small. I said 5'11", no fucking way. Yeah. And because here's the thing, he sure is not going to pass for 6 foot. But I'm sitting there and I'm saying, man, he just looks small in the field. But all I'll say is, in today's college football, you really then do need to have a dominant offense. And you're trying to wait for JT Daniels to come back. And he, you know, I'll say this, Stetson Bennett, he is not garbage, and that he can do enough, especially with your dominant D. But is he ultimately going to take you where you want to go, which is why you want to have JT Daniels, but you need somebody who's actually healthy. Beyond that, to give you, once again, my expert analysis, Georgia football, they're a good team.
Well, thank you. And actually, I want to bring up a topic, Scott. We didn't actually prep at all for this one, but it's Georgia's wide receiver coach, Cortez Hankton. So, again, we know you've had kind of a lot going on, you know, with personal life. We're certainly glad everything's going okay. But this week, the one area of Georgia's team I think that has been lacking from the recruiting department is wide receiver. And, you know, this year, dude, our wide receiving group does not look particularly impressive. I think we've got one guy his name, I kid you not, is Cole Spear. I think he's like 5'7". You know, he looks like he should be playing midget football, honestly. But the saving grace for our wide receiver class was supposed to be the number 1 overall receiver, a guy named Luther Burton, right? He was set to announce between Georgia and Missouri on Tuesday, right, Trey? Mm-hmm. And again, like Cortez Hankton has never been a great recruiter, right? But we've got all our eggs in our basket for this guy. And surprise, surprise, the kid picks Missouri. So, yeah, my thought on this is, you know, this year, you know, Georgia's gotten lucky, right? I mean, we've got a freshman wide receiver and a true freshman wide receiver who have played extremely well. And both of them were 3 stars, right? So, you know, and you need luck like that sometimes, right? You're not going to hit 5 stars at every position. And it's kind of nice when you can get, you know, an under the radar guys to perform, right? Not every 3-star, though, pans out, right? And so looking forward next year, right, Georgia's losing a lot of their defense. So we're going to have to rely on our offense, right? My thinking is Cortez Hankton needs to go because, you know, you're never going to get these guys to pan out, right? And at some point, you're going to have to rely on your receivers to make a catch, you know, to carry your team. I mean, it's just the way football's going. And you've got a top 4 program. There's really not any excuses to be able to do it, right? I mean, the excuse that certain fans, and I was on message boards arguing this point with a lot of Georgia fans, who most of which I really don't respect their opinion on much because it's the same group who panned me when I said Jacob Eason was overrated coming out of high school. It's the same group that would pan me when I said we need to move on from Mark Richt and then from Jim Chaney and then from James Coley as coordinators, which I was right on all of those, right? But they're, you know, all they're able to do is say, well, I mean, these 2 kids are playing right now, but, you know, it's not the NFL. Your job is also to be able to bring in talent. And so somewhere down the line, you're going to need big-time receivers to make big-time plays. Why are we holding on to this guy? You know, you should be able to do better than 3 stars. I mean, what's your honest thoughts on that?
Well, I'll say this to you, Sean. You know, this is a view from outside of Georgia football. Here's what you have. I mean, I do like to see all the good recruits. Oh, good. Hey, we got another 5-star. But what the fuck does that really mean? I mean, yes, I want to have the 5 stars that pan out instead of the 5 stars that, you know, bust. But you know what? Every NFL team out there wants a first round quarterback who pans out instead of your boy Josh Rosen. You know what I mean? So it is a little bit of, you just got to go and find the right player for your program. And for everybody out there who hates Nick Saban, say what you will, but he finds the right 5-star guys for his program. Because I don't want some 5-star guy who's, is has problems off the field, who's never going to play, who's going to get hurt, who's just not really the right guy for your program. So if I'm finding that 5-star quarterback, wide receiver, what have you, that is, fits, the program that you're trying to build. From a recruiting standpoint, it does matter. I will tell you this much. If Georgia wins the national championship this year, which right now, I don't want to make all you Georgia fans out there nervous. What you are the odds-on favorite, and right now you are the best team. If you quote unquote get your humble pie and you still win 30-13, that sure sounds better than a loss. Ask me the second week of the season when Ohio State lost to Oregon. Mm-hmm. I will also say this though, if that's the case, they're not going to really. It's very unlikely they'll change anything. Some of you like Nick Saban will be like, "Oh, we need to get better," but they probably won't change that. They probably won't change, make the change that you're hoping for, Sean. The other thing I'll say about Georgia football that's very important, you have a very fertile recruiting ground. And that's, Georgia the last however many years. And I only know that because we've gotten some players out of Georgia, Ohio State has, and so have a lot of other programs. Your boy Trevor Lawrence he was from Georgia, old Sunshine. So it's very fertile recruiting ground. And right now, all you need is that dominant defense. You need enough offense, but later this year, hopefully, JT Daniels can come back. And even if you want to incorporate Stetson Bennett, I just don't know if he'll be able to take it to the promised land. He might, but if he takes it to the promised land, it's going to be like a Craig Krenzel type situation in 2002 at Ohio State. You had just enough offense and a very dominant defense. So I understand your concerns and everything, and I understand, but you watch. They're not going to make any changes. And I will actually be more impressed with Kirby Smart if he does make changes. He's going to say, hey, we're good here, but we need to get better. And it's also all that recruiting stuff. I hear everything you're saying. Because if I'm getting all 3-star guys, I'm like, I can't you just can't produce talent. You can develop talent, but you can't produce talent. But sometimes you can have these under the radar guys that overperform or whatever. They just weren't highly recruited. However, you have to have a combination of both. Believe it or not, Michigan has actually recruited pretty well. They just haven't developed well. So how else are you going to have these very high recruiting classes, but you never do anything with it? And there's been several programs like that over the years. Charlie Weiss, who I fucking hate, or hated. I guess I still hate, but he's not really coaching now. So that smug son of a bitch. He actually did a fairly good job of recruiting talent to not Kansas, but Notre Dame, right. But ultimately didn't really develop it. And that's why, hey, let's give him a 10-year contract after losing 2 games. For everyone that remembers mid-2000s football, they lost to USC and some other close game. Let's give him a 10-year contract. And he waited for like 3 or 4 more years of that. So recruiting is very important, but it's about finding the right people to meet your program. And I'm all for finding the 3-star guy that really has 5-star talent. Asked me because I saw a story come out today about Chris Olave, who was under-recruited, was like a 3-star guy. And part of that's the reason because I think he changed high school late. They're actually out there recruiting. It was actually Ryan Day was out there recruiting. It was a Jack Tuttle, I think, who's now a quarterback in Indiana. And then they saw Olave, and Olave is a 5-star talent, should probably be a first-round draft pick, but he was just under the radar. So you just got to find the right guys for your program.
Yeah,
that's a good answer.
Yeah, completely agree. In defense for Cortez Hankman, I agree with. I think he's below average or average recruiter, but I will say on the Luther Burton, him being in-state guy in Missouri, I think he had like 9 sisters, half sisters, real close family. It's just hard to pull all those guys. It'd be like pulling a Louisiana guy, how we flirted with those guys. So I think that it was just kind of, it was hard.
By the way,
wait a second, he has a bunch of half sisters.
9 sisters.
9 sisters or half sisters. So he had a big family there, and I think he wanted to stay close to him. And I knew it was going to be hard when I heard that to get him to come all the way out.
I have a question. So he's got 9 half sisters. Is he married to any of them?
No, I didn't know half sisters or sisters. It was a big family, but it was 9. I don't know if they're half sisters or full sisters. But anyway, my thing is it's going to be hard to pull them out of the state. And I look at it this way: hey, good luck playing for an average program when we kick.
But shouldn't we have been able to effectively evaluate that situation and know, all right, here's kind of what time it is?
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying, we can't ever get guys out of Louisiana and some of these other states. So that's why I'm kind of
Louisiana is a cultural thing, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's hard. So, hey, good luck with a 5-6-6 team, and we'll probably beat you every year. Good luck, but it is what it is. I'm glad.
The other thing I'll say here's, as difficult as you say it is to recruit out of Louisiana, and I'm no DB Sweeney guy. I'm glad they're having a horrible year. But Travis Etienne, he was out of Louisiana and went to Clemson, so it can still be done. It's just, to your point. I mean, I hear what you're saying. You wanted this big recruit, but you never know how it's going to work out with that kid. Especially in today with the transfer portal, you never know. Maybe he'll join your team somewhere down the road. Because didn't I just see there was a top recruit that was committed to USC, and after they fired Clay Helton, is now committed to Georgia?
Yeah, for Kyle Williams is great. Flip City.
So there you go, man. And for that dominant D.
And we just
now maybe if you can get some offense to go with that dominant D, you'll be in business.
Exactly. And we got the guy today, Texas A&M, Barry Alexander. Sean wanted him real bad. Supposedly Jordan Davis's replacement. Actually, number 1 recruiting class for 2022 currently, just past Bama on the bye week. All right, jumping right into it. Ohio State, number 5, quietly coming back in this after the bad loss, goes against Indiana on the road. I said, Sean, last week, I go, this is one of the most dangerous teams. Scott, I'm going to go ahead and blow you up real quick.
And let's actually, as part of that, Scott, as part of your response, if you don't mind, maybe evaluating Ohio State in terms of, the improvement you've seen or not from, Oregon game on, if you can.
Right. So here's what I'll give you about the Ohio State season so far. We start out on the road against PJ Fleck and the Flecktones. And for anybody that doesn't get that joke, there used to be a band called Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. So anyways, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. Don't pay attention. However,
if it's not EDM, Trey doesn't know.
Things like Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Anyways, so
I was thinking Mighty Boss Tones, but go ahead.
That was more like a 90s thing. So this is 10 years after. But by the way, it's still 15 years ago. Doesn't matter, right? Anyways, so here's the thing. So that first night game, we're at Minnesota, and it was close, and then we pulled away. Hey, great. Well, that's his first start, CJ Stroud. But wow, look at him take off and everything. Okay, now he's got his first start at home, and we play Oregon. And to be honest with you, we lost by 7 points, but it really wasn't that close of a game. Oregon outplayed us. And that's when we made the defensive changes with Kerry Coombs. And it's okay, do you see everybody where we're going to run here pre-snap? This is exactly where you're going to see. You're going to change it? Nope, we're not going to change it. We're going to go ahead and kind of disguise anything? Nope, that's not going to happen either. I know what's going to fucking happen. I'm just some asshole that watches the game. And the announcer's even talking about it. Okay, you watch this? They're going to pitch the ball and run to the left. And he's had it all fucking day. So we made some changes defensively. And at times, CJ Stroud looked great, but other times it was, okay, I guess this is his second game. I thought he'd be over the nerves, but still not looking great. Okay, we lost. These things happen. So the third game, now we're looking sketchy against Tulsa. And I'm like, Tulsa's fucking horrible. So the fact that we doesn't look good, why are you nervous against Tulsa? I get on the road against Minnesota and a night game. I get it, a big game at home in Oregon, but why are you looking nervous against Tulsa? Because Tulsa's horrible. And we might have won by 21 points, but if you watch the game, you understand my concerns as an Ohio State fan. And we pulled away late, but that was a concern. So now he says, hey, I kind of got a bad shoulder and everything going on. So, hey, let's give him some rest. And a good way to get some rest is against Akron, one of the worst teams in college football. So then the next week, we do give him some rest, and we look like world beaters against garbage, Akron. And then from there, he comes back, and we play Rutgers, also a horrible team. And, okay, well, now he looks better. Okay, great. We got some momentum. And then, we play Maryland the week after that. Okay, well, now he's actually looking pretty good because Maryland isn't complete garbage because Tua's brother is now the quarterback there in Maryland. Is it Talia?
Tua Lele, right?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, right? Anyways, to his brother Talia. So we looked against him, and then we've had a bye week. So, yes, we look great against mostly garbage. The question is, though, now, as we move forward, how are you going to look against better teams? Is Indiana? It's not the Indiana of last year, though. It's the Indiana of the past. Not to say that they can't beat us, but I will say this. I think the longest winning streak against one team over another in college football is Ohio State that play every year against Indiana. Oh. However, that being said, is it Penix, their quarterback? I believe he's out of the game. They're not the same team. So, yes, we should win. I don't know what the spread is on the game. What's the spread on the game there, Trey?
Yeah, it is 21 currently, 3 touchdowns.
Okay. So that's Indiana of the past. But so we're going to learn a little bit more about Ohio State this week, but we're going to learn even more about them with, the weeks to come. Because I'm trying to see if who do they play coming up.
I think it's Penn State coming up, right, in 2 weeks. That'll be a challenge.
Yeah, that's right. So Penn State, and then we got Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska's better, but Nebraska's having trouble closing out games. And then Purdue's one of those teams that, yes, we could talk about how they beat Iowa, but they always one of those teams that always give us trouble. And then we got an undefeated Michigan State and then Michigan. So, that Penn State, Michigan games we're going to find out more about ourselves. So it seems like we're getting better at the right time. We just got to see, what happens going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go ahead and make a pick, and then you can get yours, Scott. I'm gonna go. You guys are gonna roll this weekend. I like where C.J. Stroud and those wideouts who are dangerous. Ohio State actually recruits 5-star wideouts, unlike somebody else. But anyway, I'm gonna go 38-7. I think you guys roll and you cover. So I think you guys put the beat down. I'm surprised this is the 7:30 ABC game, but I guess they had slim pickings this week.
Yeah, it's what can I say about when there's a really big game? We're like, hey, what this Ohio State Oregon game should be on? It should be on at night, and these motherfuckers put it on at 12. Yeah. Thanks again, Fox, with your big noon special. But like when they play Akron, hey, let's put that game on at 7:30. Why? Why are you doing that? So yes, here's another one that it's on at 7:30. And if you look at most of the games early in the day, there's not a whole lot that stands out to me. There are some decent games that start at nighttime. So I think Alabama's playing at night versus Tennessee, and they're throwing bottles of brown poo and mustard, golf balls and all that other fun stuff. You stay classy, Tennessee, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be. I will say, I think it might be close early, the Ohio State Indiana game, but as the game goes on, I do expect us to pull away. I expect us to win by 17. So I will say 37-20.
Wow. So you don't think they cover, huh?
I do not.
Okay. All right. I like that. How about you, Sean? What you got? You got a pick?
I'm going to say like 42-20, something like that.
Okay. So you got them covering. All right. Well, you got Ohio State.
Yeah. I think Ohio State's just got, their wide receivers are just ridiculous. Garrett Wilson, obviously Olave, the African guy's name, I don't want to mess it up, NJ, however that's pronounced.
Then Smith and Jigma.
Smith and Jigma, yeah, there we go. Right. And then, Henderson too. At the running back position. Geez Louise. Plus, the tight end you guys have is no slouch either.
Yeah.
Hey, are one of you chasing a dog right now?
Sean's packing up.
Yeah, those are my retards. Sorry.
Damn.
So just for everyone listening out there right now, Sean's actually doing the show while being chased by a dog.
It is great. All right, so you got them rolling. Actually, no Georgia game this week, so we won't do a Georgia preview. They got a much needed bye. I hope half the team heals up because they're.
Speaking of Lane Kiffin, though. And, we've already talked a little about Louisiana. What about LSU making the announcement with Orgeron?
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. Here it is, 21 months, and he gives Coach O the firing. What's your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I will say that I predicted this even during their championship season, that I said,
You did. I remember Coach
that. Coach O and Cookie Monster, that's right, go Tigers. I said, hey, look, I like the guy. I do like the guy. But, he has, I've heard this before. He caught lightning in a bottle. He has a great offensive coordinator, which don't be surprised if Joe Brady is back as a head coach. Yep. And they had a great D coordinator. And didn't he go on to coach? He's the head coach of Baylor right now. So one of those two guys are going to be the front runner for the job. And Jimbo Fisher says, I'm not interested. He'll probably get a pay raise. And then DB Sweeney said, oh, I'm not interested. I'm focused on my own Death Valley. So he'll get a pay raise because I don't expect other than them to leave, especially Jimbo going and leaving to be in the same division, still in the SEC West. Yeah. So, but I said this, everybody said, hey, we did a great job with Joe. I'm like, you didn't develop anything, dude. Congratulations. You got a developed Joe Burrow from Ohio State. Now, here's what you did with Joe Brady is you then took him to the next level. I will say that, but that isn't Orgeron. That's Joe Brady. And then you put it in the right offense, and you took all of that talent that LSU always has, and you've had one of the best teams in college football. But I just knew I knew there was a little bit of Gene Chizik and Ed Orgeron. And for everybody that doesn't remember Gene Chizik, hey, when's the national championship at Auburn? Was he out like a year or two after that? Because Scam Newton left, to raise some money for his dad's church. Oh, I'm sorry, he went to the NFL. But anyways, and now he dresses, let's just say his outfits are quite unique. I don't see him on Sundays anymore, but they are quite unique. I'll leave it at that. So I wonder if I would go to work with an outfit like that on, what looks I would get. Anyways, with Ed Orgeron, it's just that I kind of felt this was going to come, but the question is, who are you going to get to replace him?
That is the $1 million question.
Speaking of that, got some head coaching candidates here that are kind of the big names. We can go over some of these. Scott, you were actually just talking about Michigan State. There we go. Mel Tucker, actually a Kirby Smart disciple. He was DC at Georgia. What do you guys think about him turning around the Michigan State program?
Let's be clear. He was really Nick Saban's disciple. I believe Nick Saban's the one that gave him his first GA position at Michigan State, which we talked about earlier.
He was head coach there. I don't like Sam Pittman. He was under Kirby so far. So Kirby's getting him a little bit of a coaching tree. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. And part of this is my own personal bias. I don't know why you'd leave Michigan State for LSU just because. I understand that's probably a little bit easier to recruit there, right? You're probably close to Texas. Louisiana's got a ton of homegrown talent as well. But at the same time, you still got to deal with Jimbo, you got to deal with Saban, you have to deal with Kirby. Yep. And the thing is LSU, they're used to winning national titles. So if things don't go well 3 years, you're out the door. I kind of feel like Michigan State will be a little more patient. There's something to be said for being in a place that appreciates what you do, but I don't know. I don't see it being him. I hope it's not.
What I'll also say though, Sean, so he was coaching, I think, at Colorado, and then late in the game, he went there to Michigan State and had that COVID year last year. I was like, I don't know about it, but then he's had a chance to turn some of it around. So this is only his second season at Michigan State. And I believe the answer to all your questions is money, because there's a lot of guys that say, I'm not going to go there. I'm very happy with where, that's a big bag of cash you have there. Oh, really? And you're loading that on my truck, and there's another big bag of cash. Oh, and another one. You're telling me there's another Freightliner behind that? Well, I've decided that the culture at LSU really does fit me / all the money they're going to give me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you want to be somewhere for a while, I don't know. He's doing a great job this year. Not so great last year, but it's a COVID year. It's a crazy year to come in first year coach, Mel Tucker. So we'll see, but it's happened before. For everyone that doesn't remember, Nick Saban was a head coach of Michigan State, and then he went down to LSU and won a national championship. However, to your point, it is very difficult to have a long tenure in the SEC West.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nick, I agree. Next name, you got Lane Kiffin. Big, I'm calling him the best heel in the business. If you're a wrestling fan, he's great. The whole golf ball mustard.
To me, I would hate it, but I feel like this move makes way too much sense. His BFF quarterback's getting ready to leave for the NFL. I think if I'm Lane, I'm taking this.
Yep, I agree. Hey, I wanted to ask Scott this because I know where Sean.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Ole Miss fans, I wonder if they'll be just as classy as Tennessee and get the golf balls ready and their bottles of poo and everything else. Was it bourbon or was it poo? Because yes, Lane is not the most mature coach you're ever going to find. But at the same point in time, and I'm not saying this won't happen at an Ohio State game sometime later this year. Wouldn't be shocked. But you stay classy, Tennessee, with and don't give me the whole, they're just college kids and everything like that. The bullshit. Why the hell does this not happen every week? So I know that you don't like Lane Kiffin, but this is who he is. Dude, he left in 2009. It's been 12 fucking years. So for all of those kids that are in college right now that were anywhere from, I don't know, 8 years old to 10 years old, or when Lane was the coach there, you're still upset about that?
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, he went to a better school and he failed. Okay. So does that make sense? It very well may. I think you better find a D coordinator.
Yeah, I agree. I want to ask you this, Scott, because I know we're.
Well, actually, hang on, Trey. That's what's interesting, though, is you know who Lane's DC and Ole Miss is, don't you? Ex-Maryland coach DJ Durkin.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Is that the guy that had the death on the sidelines that time he got fired?
Yeah, but he wasn't. I'll give it to him. He was a heck of a DC, though. I think he was Muschamp's protege.
He was. Yeah, I do remember that. I know where Sean lies about this, but I wanted to ask Scott. He's neutral. What's the more attractive job you think right now, the LSU or the USC job, if you were a coach or top tier coach?
If I were to take a job, California, here I come, baby. Because here's the other thing. Here's what you need to. If you look at the top teams right now in college football, do you know where their quarterback's from? I mean, yes, DJ Uiagalelei has been a huge, I won't say a huge disaster. He's just been a huge disappointment. How about that?
Yeah.
But he's from California. C.J. Stroud, California. J.T. Daniels, California. Of course, he was at transfer from USC. Bryce Young, California. Do you see where there's some talent out there? So when USC had their heyday with Pete Carroll, he says, I'm going to recruit the best talent here locally, which California is a huge state, has a ton of talent. And then if there's some other kid from around the country that fits what we do, we'll recruit him as well. So I would take them, and also knowing that it would be easier to dominate the Pac-12 than, in particular, the SEC West. Because Georgia fans, whether you want to hear this or not, the SEC East is not the SEC West. Yes, we're still the SEC, and it means more and all that bullshit, except for in bowl games. Because if you're not in the fucking playoff, you don't give a damn. Okay, which it leads me to another argument that I want to have with you boys right now. It's funny how, because we always hear SEC. However, what is it? So if Florida, for example, doesn't show up against a bowl game last year of Oklahoma, well, we didn't really care about that. Hey, so that that one doesn't count because they didn't care, and a lot of people went off.
Well, no, it counts. It just didn't mean more.
Okay, I thought it's supposed to mean more, man. That's your fucking slogan. However, if they do go and then they beat a Big Ten team and the in the bowl game, they'll be like, well, there you go, man. Hey, SEC is just better than Big Ten. That's how it is. But which one is it? Because you're going to go ahead and get both sides. They're like, well, they didn't really care about that. I'm like, you can pay a lot of money. If you're that talented, Florida Gators, then go ahead and take your damn second stringer, put them out there, and pretend like you care to win a bowl game. Because I know that the players don't care that much. As a fan, I still care about a bowl win. Because years ago, when Ohio State didn't make the playoffs, we played USC with Sam Darnold, and I knew right then, I said, I don't know who the Browns are going to draft, but I don't want him because we ate him fucking alive. And so then we had a couple of top 10 picks that were going to go, and they sat out of the game. And I can't think of the guy right now who's the cornerback for the Browns. I can't believe I see his face, and I'm drawing a blank. Johnny No, so Ohio State player that is a cornerback, and I can't believe this is going to drive me crazy. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. I see his face. I can't think of his name. But anyways, he sat out against the USC. And still, we had enough talent that we won the game 24-7.
Denzel's his first name, right?
Denzel
Scott?
Ward.
There we go.
There you go. So he sat out of the game, but we still had enough talent. So the bowl game still matters to me because I still want to go and have a bowl win. So which one is it? Which one is it, though? Because you get to go, you play both sides of it. It either means more or doesn't mean more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but well, I will say this. We actually SEC went 6-2 last year and could have had several others play, but they canceled. And the Big Ten went 3-1. So actually, we had the most bowl game wins of any other conference.
What does it say? 5-0 for the Big 12?
It does.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, you know, you didn't win all your games.
Who won the Natty though? Because it means more.
Alabama.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing. Everyone that wants to say, for the fucking Tennessee fans out there and say, oh, hey, SEC wins again. I'm like, you haven't won fucking anything. That's the problem. You haven't won shit. And everybody else in the SEC East, not Georgia fans, because you're a great program. Georgia fans, I'll give you that. And Florida fans, well, your expectations are a little bit high right now. However, you have the potential to be a great program as well. But don't give me this SEC wins again, because they beat up on your ass every fucking year. And they'll probably do it this week. The only question is, will you throw golf balls and boulders of poo at them?
You got Vanderbilt's pumping their chest out. We're in SEC academics.
There you go, man. Hey, does Vanderbilt's average GPA, does that go and give the average, when you include Vanderbilt, does that go ahead and raise the average GPA across the SEC to like a 2.2, or where does that raise it to?
Probably.
But I'll say this, boys. If I said it before, I'll say it again. This ain't an academic challenge. Put the best team on the field. Let's go play. And for all you phys ed majors out there, no matter what program you're whether you're in the SEC or the Big Ten or any other school, I hope you enjoy your college days, and I hope you get a job as a phys ed teacher.
How about Billy Napier? Don't know much about him. His name keeps coming up. Sean, you know anything about him? And then also the other one was
I kind of feel like he's lower down on the list. Like, I think it's going to come down to Dave Aranda or Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, he turned around, and you know he was the DC there. I'm sure he's got plenty of recruiting ties. I think he'd be good. He's turning around Baylor, undefeated team. Or they lost one. I forget. They got a good team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thing is this what is this, year 2 or 3 for him?
Yeah, he was there 2019, year 2, I guess.
Yeah, I guess because you really can't count last year. Yeah, I mean, they're doing well now. I mean, I still think I'd prefer Lane at this point because it's really hard to be a defensive-minded coach and win. I mean, Kirby's kind of the exception to the norm.
Yeah.
What about Nick Saban?
Yeah, but like I think that I think Nick Saban's just like a great like just organizational guy. Like, he kind of sees weaknesses or bigger pictures. Like, Herbie's still in that defensive coordinator mentality. I mean, hopefully at some point he'll grow and progress out of that. But to me, like, Saban kind of he sees the bigger picture, you know, better than anybody.
Well, one thing that I want to get you boys' opinions on here, because here in the college football hour, we always like to discuss politics and your feelings on vaccines. And by that, I mean, I'm joking, and you have them, and that's great. But what do you think about old Washington State head coach Nick Rolovich? Because I'm going to give you my feeling about it first. Yeah. So anybody that doesn't know the story, state of Washington said, hey, you got to go and get a vaccine or you can't be the coach. Now, here's what I'll say. The state of Washington might stand by that regardless, because then all you have to do is just go get the vaccine. And you're seeing that more across the federal government, et cetera, et cetera. I don't care what your thoughts on that, your thoughts on that or whatever it is. I really don't give a damn. I really don't. What I will say, though, is if he was a better coach, if that was Nick Saban, would they be like, well, coach, we'd prefer that you get one, but if you don't, we understand. You know, because Nick Saban came in right now to the athletic director's office, and he took a shit on his fucking desk. He would say, you're going to have to be fine with this. He'd say, Nick, whatever you say, you can come shit on my desk anytime you'd like. Okay? Just want to let you know, my door is always open for you to shit on my desk. Right? But guess what? If your name's Ed Orgeron, you'd be like, you better go ahead and get that vaccine. You're fired. So I'm just curious what y'all's opinion is on that.
I don't think it would have mattered who the coach was. Now, you may have had more conservative outrage over it, but the problem is in the Pacific Northwest, majority of the population isn't just simply like Democrats, but they're like extreme liberals. it wouldn't have mattered to them. They don't care. Like, they would have seen it as making a political statement. They would have fired the guy and been done. Now, a lot of the problem is that it's just a very extreme area politically, right? I mean, I'm not sitting there saying that one party's better than another, right? But what I am saying is that it's very far leaning left. And so the thing is they literally looked at it like, ironically, it's a terrible example because they don't tend to be hunters, but they would have looked at it like basically getting like a 12-point, buck and hanging it on their wall. Like, that's just kind of the mentality out there. I'm saying to you that winning cures all. And if Mike Leach was still there and was having success, they'd be like, Coach, we respect whatever your thoughts are. So, I mean, it's easier to say that. Scott, I would go ahead and put money on it that, like, if Mario Cristobal had refused to get and again, there's not much difference politically between Oregon and Washington. And I've been there recently, as you have, but like, I think they'd fire him like without a second thought.
Well, you may be right. What are your thoughts on that, Trey?
Yeah, I actually brought it up. I tried to bring it up into group chat. I thought it was a little harsh. He was getting paid 3.2, and I think his assistant coaches went with him. I mean, they probably could have gotten vaccinated and stayed, but I think it was like a state by state thing. I was just surprised. It's the first like college to kind of go ahead and fire him. So I thought it was a little harsh. But I don't know if I would have maybe had a really intense talks with my family and be like, all right, I'll take this vaccine for 3.2 million. We'll figure it out later, but.
For 3.2 million? Yeah. I think I'd make it work.
Right? I mean, like,
I was like, I'll make it work. Let's figure this out.
Isn't it funny, though, when you look at the landscape of college football where you've got LSU and be like, you haven't won a national championship, and it's been almost 2 seasons. So, sorry, we're going to have to let you go. However, you got Washington State, and they're like, we're really not – nobody talks about us besides the fact that we bring our flag to College Game Day every Saturday. And they say, been here, Old Crimson, for how many weeks in a row or whatever. However, then it's kind of like this is the story they have. So I don't know.
And they were 4-3, and I think last year he struggled. I know it was a shortened year; they were like 1-3 or something. So maybe he's just kind of like what Scott said. He wasn't winning at the end of the day. Maybe this is a chance to make a change.
Now I have a recruiting question for you because there was a story that just came out today, Chris Olave, that he had thought about, even though he committed to Ohio State, he thought about then going back to some school, Utah or USC or some school around there, and then he'd come to Ohio State. The rest is history. And now there's some stories about there at Arch Manning. I just don't see. I think Ohio State's one of the 10,000 schools that have offered him. And anybody who doesn't know who Arch Manning is, really, who the fuck are you? Why are you listening to this program? Do you not know anything about college football? Yeah. Anyways, maybe somebody's heard of Archie Manning, or maybe somebody heard of Peyton Manning. He looks a little bit like Frankenstein. So if you want to dress up for Peyton Manning as Halloween, Frankenstein, Peyton Manning, who knows who it is? You got Eli Manning, and so this is this Cooper Manning's son?
That's correct.
Yes.
So I just don't see him. I don't see him ready for this. I'm gonna try to put some double negatives out there. Trey, you can type that in Google, see what that means. I don't see him not playing in the South. How about that?
Yeah. I don't think he's going to Georgia either. He's going to be Tennessee.
You don't think he's going to Georgia? Because they had this whole like, oh, hey, where's he going to go? I saw this story.
Hey, Trey, like
flirting with us. That's all it is.
I don't think so. Like, it didn't stop. Like, it did not stop Peyton from going to Tennessee.
Hey, another thing, being a Georgia fan, what I would tell him, Kirby don't know how to handle quarterbacks. Would you want to come here? He'll probably be on the bench till he's a junior anyway. I want to play right away. So that's another thing. Kirby's not handling all these QBs right. We can stack up the 5 stars. He don't know how to play with them. He's got all these Ferraris out there, and he's like, I'm going to go over here to this lawnmower, man. That thing's got some kick to it, So I wouldn't come if I was him.
I assume, Arch Manning, you're currently listening to the College Football Hour. Thank you. If you would go ahead and put that out on your Instagram feed, or whatever social media platform that you're on. But let me just say this. One of the many reasons, Trey just pointed out to you, he's a huge Georgia fan. One of the many reasons you should come to Ohio State is we're going to find a place for you. You can make a lot of money on the whole NIL deals. Just ask Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
And think about this. Georgia is one of Georgia's best prospect over the last several years, he made his way to Ohio State anyways. So why don't worry about playing in the South. Be different from the rest of your family. Don't worry about Ole Miss. Don't worry about Tennessee. Don't worry. I guess you're looking at Texas. You're looking at Georgia, Clemson. Look, come up to Columbus. We'll take care of you.
I like it. All right, real quick, wanted to touch on, the rankings got a little wacky with that fraud team, Iowa, getting beat. I will say this for Scott. I know he's always looking for it. Four Big Ten teams are in the top 10. They're going to beat each other up, but I will say that.
I will. Well, yeah, but we still don't know who those teams are. And guess what? Ohio State is one of those teams. How are we going to be against when we play Penn State? How are we going to be? Now it appears as though we're on the right road, but it's just when the competition changes, we just have to see. And Georgia fans, yes, you are the best team right now. If there's a national championship, and I don't care what Vegas says, hey, I'm pulling for you I'm putting my money with you, whether I'm pulling for you or not, because I'm definitely not pulling for you against Ohio State, but I put my money on you. and then I'll pull for Ohio State if we play today. Any team in college football. If I had to pick who are the best two teams right now, I mean, there they are, 1-2. That bowl game from last year, Georgia versus Cincy. Do I think that's going to be the national title? No. But everybody else, we talked about this earlier today. If you get your quote-unquote humble pie by winning the 30-13, then aren't our expectations high? Cincinnati's looked very good, and they played garbage the rest of the way. Oklahoma's had a lot of sketchy moments, and now they've changed quarterbacks.
They're dangerous.
Alabama still looks like they could be great. Looks like they just might have had their loss, and they're ahead of us as a one-loss team. I have no problem with that because for everything I see in Alabama this year, I still think they're the better team. They had a close game against Florida. They lost to Texas A&M. So, I mean, the rest of it just remains to be seen. I mean, how good is Michigan at 6-0? Penn State just has one loss to Iowa. Iowa played great defense, and they did. Hey, ready for this, Georgia? They have good defense as well, but their offense is horrible. And it showed when you lost 24-7 to Purdue. So now the question is, how good is Oklahoma State? They're undefeated. How good is Michigan State? 7-0. So there's a lot of questions to be answered.
I agree. I think Cincinnati, you can go ahead and plug them in as one of the playoff spots. Remember, I called them early in the year if they beat Notre Dame. I think they roll. They don't have – they're playing against Air the rest – School of the Blind, Sisters of the Poor, the rest of them. They're going to roll. So you go ahead and play them in. So I think it's going to be maybe that fourth spot. Hell, they might stay at 2 the whole time. So our thing is, all Georgia fans know, probably you got these boys, of course, in Atlanta. And I was thinking of karma, because karma has been a bitch to all Georgia fans over the years. Here's would be the great karma thing here is Daniel's struggles. Maybe he finally can actually heal up. Struggles in the first half against Bama. And then Kirby has the big old sack, and you put Stetson Bennett in, and he beats Bama at the very end of the late touchdown. Karma's a bitch, and then you beat them in the SEC championship game.
Well, and I'm not convinced if Georgia. Let's just say
look at this guy.
goes,
What's Sean doing up there? I don't know what that was.
What was that? I missed something.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
I was simulating a certain bodily satisfactory.
He's talking about the Ole Miss mustard. Go ahead.
Gotcha. So, anyways, if Georgia runs the table and is still undefeated against Alabama, and it's a close game, I think they both get in. Yeah. I mean, it's not a guarantee that Alabama is going to run the table. And ready for this? Where is the Alabama-Auburn game this year? Where is it? Is it Alabama?
I think it's Alabama.
Auburn, Jordan Hare.
Is it really?
I think, and I might be wrong. I think that
Auburn's getting better.
Alabama might lose another game this year. I'm just saying it could happen.
Mm-hmm. Auburn is.
And then are they going to be the first? If they then went on to win and were able to come out of the SEC West, I don't even know if they play. For if they were able to make it to the SEC championship, they had 2 losses. So there's still a lot of football in front of us. In fact, there's the best football in front of us. And if it does, quote unquote, truly mean more, then it should mean more not only for the rest of this year, but during the bowl season, SEC fans.
Actually, if Auburn won out, they would have the head-to-head, and that would be, that would be Georgia fans' luck, because I guess if Alabama missed it, we have Auburn rematch. That'd be crazy, right?
Yes, indeed. Sean, have you caught that dog yet? Or
dogs are not happy with that answer.
Are you chasing it or are they chasing you?
I'm chasing it. Professional dog catcher.
Hey, does anybody want to get anything else off the chest before we head out? Anything you want to add?
Yeah. Trey, you can kiss my ass. We're out of here.
All right. All right. Hey, go Buckeyes. No dogs playing this week. We got Georgia, Florida next week. And make sure to rate and subscribe if you're still with us. Herschel Talkers, and we're out.